I want to have a conversation about the art of being useless to men. This is something that I talked about really recently on my podcast, and I really want to expand on it. Practicing the art of being useless to men has honestly changed my dating life for the better. I think a lot of men will keep women around that they don't plan on having a long relationship with, or even like dating fully with a label, just because she is useful to them in some way. Maybe she's useful to their lifestyle. Maybe she's just useful to their ego. Like, I used to overextend myself so much, and in return, I constantly got used for different things. I used to, when I was younger, if I was dating someone and they're like, oh, I really want to go to this restaurant on Friday, I would literally pull out my phone and be like, okay, great, let me book the reservation right now. Like, let's go. Versus now, I would be like, yeah, I want to go too. Let me know. Even offering solutions to problems or plans a lot. Like, for example, my parents live on the beach. So if I was dating someone and they're like, oh, I really want to go to the beach, like, we should go to the beach, but like, I don't know where to go. Which beach should we go to? I would be like, oh, my parents live on the beach. Let's just go to that beach. Now I would just be like, yeah, I want to go to the beach. Like, let's go. And just wait for them to make the plan or come up with a solution and figure out which beach to go to. Or if they mentioned like a favorite dessert of theirs, because I do love to bake, I would like bake it. And I wasn't doing any of these things in a pick-me type of way or to gain male approval. That's just genuinely how my personality is when I like someone. And obviously I wasn't doing this for every guy, but someone that I was seeing consistently or entering the beginning stages of a relationship with. Another one I don't do is I'm not providing a sexual experience for anyone. Unless there's been a lot of time and energy invested on their end and it is progressing at a natural course where it feels like it's time because it's progressing that way in a relationship, I'm not doing it. Because men 100% do keep women around because they're just satisfying them sexually and being useful to them. And the last one, this one's very personal to me, but I don't talk about finances, family, or careers anymore. I have had men in the past use me for access, networking, or like to get close to maybe a family member of mine because of their career. So now I'd rather the guy think that I'm useless and I don't provide any access or anything that could help them build themselves up. But people don't talk about this. Men are gold diggers too, and men will gold dig on certain people if they think that they can help them get to where they want to be. Overall, this mindset's helped me a lot though when it comes to cutting out anybody who wants to use me for my body, my time, my connections, just my energy as a whole. Because if I'm being pretty useless and you're still sticking around, then obviously there's real feelings there, and it's not that you just want to use me.
So I had to watch this video twice because I thought I misunderstood what she was saying. She says she's practicing the art of being useless to men. The art of being useless. Listen, if your goal is to stay single, congratulations, you got it. You're headed in the right direction. If your goal is to become somebody's late night text message instead of somebody's wife, then keep following advice like this. I'm joking. Well, kind of. Because this right here is exactly why dating has become such a mess. Everybody wants to win the battle, but nobody wants to build a relationship. Everybody's trying to have leverage instead of love. Everybody's trying to protect themselves so much that they become impossible to build with. Let me say something that some people aren't going to like. Marriage isn't built on two people trying to be useless to each other. It's built on two people trying to be valuable to each other. Read that again. Valuable. Not used. Valuable. There's a huge difference. See, somewhere along the way, people confuse serving someone with being a servant. Those are not the same thing. If I love my wife one day, I'm going to serve her. That doesn't make me weak. That makes me a husband. If she loves me, she's going to serve me. That doesn't make her weak. That makes her a wife. Healthy relationships aren't scoreboards. They're partnerships. But social media has turned dating into a chess match. Oh, don't text first. Oh, don't call me too much. Don't cook. Don't help him. Don't support him. Don't show him you care. At this point, I'm surprised somebody hasn't said, don't even show up to the date. Just stay away. He was gonna like you more. Everybody's teaching games instead of teaching godly relationships, man. And then people wonder why they're 38, 39, 40 years old making TikToks about, how there are no good men left. Really? Or did you spend 15 years taking advice from people who don't have the kind of relationship you actually want? Let it make sense. See, that's the first question I ask now. Before I take relationship advice from anybody, let me see the fruit. Are you happily married? Is your home full of peace? Do your children respect you? Is your relationship healthy? Because if you're giving me marriage advice from the passenger seat of your situationship, I'm good. I'll pass. And let me deal with something else that she said too really quick. She used to be helpful. She used to be supportive. She used to do thoughtful things for the men she dated. Then she got hurt. Yes. And so now she decided to become useless. That's not wisdom. That's pain making decisions. Pain will have you punishing people who never hurt you. Think about that. The next man now has to pay for what the last man did to her. That's not healing. That's revenge wearing makeup. All the makeup she was putting on. Let me tell the lady something that every successful man I know understands. Men don't marry a woman because they're difficult to build with. They marry a woman because they bring peace. Read Proverbs 31. The virtuous woman isn't praised because she's useless. She's praised because she's trustworthy, wise, hardworking, generous, supportive, and fears the Lord. That's what scripture celebrates. It celebrates value. And before somebody twists my words, let me say this. I'm not talking about a woman becoming somebody's doormat. Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying. A godly woman should have standards. She should have boundaries. She should expect respect. But there's a difference between having standards and making it your identity to contribute nothing. That's not strength. That's selfishness. Imagine if a man start making videos saying, you know what? I'm practicing the art of being useless to women. I'm not protecting nobody. I'm not leading nobody. I'm not helping nobody. I'm not providing nothing. Nada. Ladies would be in the comments cooking that dude up alive. They say that's a little man, little boy, not a man insecurities. And honestly, they'll be right. So why are we applauding it when the message comes from a woman? See, I believe one of the biggest lies social media has sold this generation is that relationships are about what you could get instead of what you could give. Everybody's interviewing people for the position of spouse while refusing to qualify for the position themselves. Think about that. Everybody wants loyalty. Everybody wants peace. Everybody wants respect. Everybody wants someone to build with. Please, I need a baby. But nobody wants to become the kind of person worthy of receiving those things. Here's some humor for you if that's what you want. Some of y'all got a relationship resume that just have one page. Special skills. I know how to argue, disappear for 3 days, post subliminals, and say, I'm just protecting my peace. That's not a resume. That's a warning label. And here's the truth. Men absolutely notice kindness. Men notice encouragement. Men notice femininity. Men notice a woman who brings peace instead of constant drama. You know why? Because most men spend all day fighting the world, The last thing they want is to come home and fight their relationship too. Ecclesiastes 4:9 says, two are better than one because what? They have a good return for their labor. Notice it says two. That makes teamwork. That's partnership. That's building together. Not one person trying to prove they don't need the other. And Philippians 2:3-4 says, do nothing out of selfish ambition, but in humility value others above yourself. That verse destroys this whole social media mindset of me first, me only, protect yourself at all costs. You know, God says humility. The internet says ego. You have to decide who you're listening to. You know, let me close this with this. If your dating advice make you less loving, less kind, less patient, less generous, and less willing to build, it's probably bad advice. Stop letting hurt teach your future. You know, let God heal your past so he can prepare for your future. Because becoming useless isn't going to attract the husband God has for you. It's just not. Not at all. You know, it's going to attract men looking for temporary entertainment. That's absolutely it. And then you'll wonder where all the good men went. They didn't disappear. They just kept walking when they realized you were proud of bringing nothing to the table. You know, real relationships aren't built by two people trying to outplay each other. They're just not. You know, they're built by two mature adults who wake up every day asking one simple question. How can I make the other person's life better? That's what that's what love looks like, man. That's exactly what love looks like. It's your boy, Paul P. God bless you, and I'll catch you in the next one. Deuces.